Hello friend, Jim here with JB's Big Adventure, coming to you from Lake Chapala, Mexico. And today I've got a real special guest with us. This is Jerry. And Jerry is with JC Travel Stories. And he's been doing this a little bit longer than we have. What I'm going to, just got some questions I'm going to share with him. So I wanted you to know that what I felt about you when I was watching your videos and all was that you're a good guy. I could just tell that you're just a good people.
Well, thank you.
And you put out great videos.
I think I'm a good guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, as a YouTuber, you know, we get comments that are not that.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, you
yeah,
have to filter those out and not let them get to
you. Yeah. That's exactly what happens. Mm-hmm. So, your name is Jerry. And your wife is Lynn. And where are you guys from?
Well, we've spent 27 years in Portland, Oregon. And that's where our kids were born. So our kids are Oregonians. I've always considered myself to be a South Dakotan because I grew up in South Dakota.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, if you ask me where am I from, I'm from South Dakota. But if you ask Lynn, she'll probably say Oregon.
Okay. Yeah. Did you meet in South Dakota or did you meet in Oregon?
Oh boy, there's a story. We met in Wyoming. She and her first husband came to visit me and my new bride.
Is that right?
Yeah. And my story, and I'm sticking to it, is it was in that moment, a week after I was married, that I realized I need to redo this. And apparently I was right because Lynn and I have been together 50 years.
Wow, wow, congratulations.
Thanks.
You don't hear that anymore today.
Well, you know, we heard it in our parents' generation, but you're right.
Yeah. It's a sad thing.
Yeah.
It's easy to get hooked up and it's easy to make a decision to leave.
Right.
That's a sad thing. So
well, my deal was always, what the heck am I going to do with all the pictures?
Well, Sarah, how long have you been at Lake Chapala?
We came originally in 2001 as tourists,
okay,
and had plans to go to Morelia and see the butterflies and San Miguel Allende, and we're going to go to Tequila, see the tequila factory. Never been here before. Came in the dark, got up in the morning, looked at the lake, said, wow, let's just stay here another day. And after 3 days, we said, you know, we'll go to those other places some other time. We're going to be back here. And on the plane ride home, it was like after another 10 days, it was like, ooh, you know, we met a lot of nice people. We could see ourselves spending some more time down there.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
That's great. And I would take it that, what did this look like your first time here? What did Lake Chapala look like? Well,
if you stand up, and we stayed at Casa de Abuela, which is at the top of Galeana, and if you stand there on that balcony and look out, it's not significantly different. But if you drive up and down the Libramento, if you drive up and down the Libramento or you go to the shops or whatever, it's drastically different than it was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, it was a sleepy little place. Right. That was known as maybe an artist's community back in the 40s when all Hollywood came here and went. But, of course, as you well know, that's not the case anymore.
Yeah, yeah. It's really grown, I'm sure, a whole lot. You've seen a lot of things take place.
Now, Jim, this is going to work both ways. So you got your list of questions here.
Okay.
I answer them, then you answer them. So, what was that question? Where did you come from?
Originally Southern California.
Yeah? What town?
Huntington Beach.
Huntington Beach. I used to live in Orange County. I worked for the Santa Ana Register at one time.
Is that right?
Yeah, and we lived in Westminster, Orange, Stanton. Never got to Huntington Beach. Lived in Santa Ana. Mm-hmm. I had to move every time the rent was due.
Well, my dad actually preached at several of the churches there. So I went to school in Garden Grove for a few years. Uh-huh. And so Southern California, I still call home, although when I was 13, we moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh, nice move.
So,
good move, yeah.
And then I graduated from high school and decided to move back to Southern California. So I was there for another 30 years. So, and I'll share this. When we came the first time, we got here at night. And we had a gentleman pick us up. And when we drove here, I've got a pretty good inner compass of where I'm at. And I couldn't figure out where the heck we were. All I know is the folks that we stayed with, they lived at Chula Vista Norte. They took us out to their back patio, which overlooks the lake. And I saw nothing, and then you see the lights on the other side of the lake. And I was trying to figure out, well, where is the lake? Because I just, what I was seeing, I couldn't figure out how it was. But in the morning, I realized where I saw the lights and what was over there and how the, I guess the landscape was, so I understood it a bit more. But when we came our first time, we were here for 8 days and had a great time. And we thought, you know what, this is where we need to come.
When I first came and looked across the lake at night, there was one light over there in Tizpan del Alto, and there was one light over there in San Pedro. And over the course of the last 20 years, we've seen the lights just spread out and...
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, what's the name of your channel?
JC Travel Stories.
Okay. And what does your channel mean? What does the name of your channel mean?
Well, I started out when I was motorhoming. And so I would travel stories, and that was a number of years ago. And JC, that's my initials.
Right.
I used to get a bad time because JC, Jesus Christ, Julius Caesar, Johnny Carson. Who are you? What are you trying to be? Be a little more humble.
Good. That's right. That's right. That's funny. That's funny. So, go ahead.
Anyway, I forgot the question, Jim.
Well, it was, what is the name of your channel?
Oh, the name of my channel. So it's JC Travel Stories, and it started out to be travel stories about when I was in my motorhome. Plus, I had a lot of travel before I started the channel. We'd been to Europe and traveled all over the United States, and we'd been to South America, and I count the north coast of Africa because I got to Morocco, which
wow,
is only a mile into Africa, but it counts.
There you go.
So I had a lot of film. I saw Europe through a 1/2-inch black and white video camera lens.
Wow.
The first one.
Wow.
And so I had a lot of stuff that I thought I would share. Plus, you start a channel to let your kids know where you've been and what you're doing. And,
Yeah.
And then it was about my cat. And I had 53 subscribers after about 4 years.
So you found the right mix there of having a channel and making it grow.
Well, and then, I'm in Mexico, so I, made a channel. And I suddenly realized that there was an interest in retiring and living in Mexico. So it's kind of like the audience pushed me, they found me, I didn't find them, is
wow.
the way I want to say it.
And that's then we parallel on that.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, when we were leaving Albuquerque, New Mexico to come down here to move here, we literally, when we were leaving, it was the last Saturday that we were there, the church actually gave us a card, and on the front of it they wrote out, Jim and Barbara's Big Adventure. So then, it's JB's Big Adventure. So Jim and Barbara's Big Adventure. So that's how it started. But the first time that we came down, there were some things that we were given that wasn't correct, we found out. But we found out after we ended up moving here. Mm-hmm. And so I said, you know what, I need to make a video for my family because they think we're crazy coming here and they think that all it's here is just the cartel. So what ended up happening was I made a video, share with the family, and somebody says, you got to put that on YouTube. And I said, YouTube? I said, I have no idea how to do any of that. I'm in my 60s. How do I know YouTube? And so it was a real struggle for me because I'm dealing with some issues, health issues and such. But it took me 2 weeks to figure it out and another 2 weeks to try to make my first video. And then I had to learn the editing software. Mm-hmm. So it took a little while. So getting this going and where it's gone has been everything from, oh, well, can you do a video on restaurants there? Can you do a video on the hospitals? Can you do, it just took its own life.
Yes.
just took off. And and we don't really do videos traveling around, but when we have gone back to the States and such, we've showed a couple of things. But about 85% of our viewers are in the States, and about 87% of them are age 60 and above. So it's primarily people retired wanting to come down and take a look here.
Yeah, I have about the same kind of demographics, although I have my channel has a problem in that I spend a few months here in my wonderful home in Mexico, and then I go to my RVing life in the United States. And the people who are interested in retiring and moving to Mexico don't give a rip about that other life that I have. I feel blessed to have two different and very divergent kinds of lives.
Right, right.
And we enjoy both of them immensely. And if I had to quit one, I don't know which one I'd quit. But that's a problem with my channel, because when I go to the States, my viewership goes way down. And then the first few videos, then I come back to Mexico, they'll go way back up.
It's amazing how that happens.
Yeah.
And I've also found when you put a video out that you think's got some really great information, it just goes gangbusters. And you just figure, wow. But then the video you think would bomb is the one it seems like everybody likes, and it's pretty amazing how that happens.
It's extremely hard to predict.
Yeah.
So I think the lesson from that is just do what you do.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. So another question is why did you start a YouTube channel? It sounds like we both answered that in regards to why the channel actually came about, which is great.
My public answer is always that I ran out of friends and relatives who wanted to hear my stories. So I needed a new answer, a new audience.
There you go. That's good. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I'll probably be hearing it again then on your channel, eh?
Okay. So tell me, who was your target audience, would you say?
Well, like I said, my target audience in the first place was my kids, but I think that my target audience became people who are in their 50s and 60s who are thinking about retiring. And I have felt in videos that have been successful that I've contributed to their ability to make that decision.
Yeah.
And to make it in a life sense timely manner.
Right, right.
I know too many people who are still 70 and working.
Right.
And they don't have to. It's just that's their habit.
Right, right.
And I know, and I've had relatives, like an uncle who was wealthy, and he retired, and he sold a grocery store business, and he didn't know what to do with himself. He'd fly off to someplace in the world and rent a condo for a month and leave in 3 days, and go rent another one somewhere else.
Right.
And that was kind of a life lesson to me, watching him, thinking, there must be a better way to figure that out.
Yeah, well, that's really something. That's amazing. What would you say that your viewers expect to see on your channel?
I think they expect to not know what to expect. And I hope that's true, because I really don't want to be nailed down to doing a particular thing. I do whatever. And because the reason for my channel ultimately is to entertain me. It's something for me to do. It's a hobby to do it, and I enjoy the interaction with subscribers and viewers. I enjoy going to Walmart and having people say, "Hey, JC."
Yeah.
I enjoy that immensely.
Yeah.
But the real motivation is it's something for me to do in my retirement.
And that's a great reason to, because when you've got something that you enjoy doing it, and it becomes natural just because you're doing whatever you're doing. Because you're trying to, like you said, what's on your mind today. So you're showing. I've found that viewers really like to know what a day in the life is like. Somebody that lives at Lake Chapala who's retired.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a big thing.
Our last video was about moving the laundry and room around, and
we saw that.
Moving the plumbing and the gas lines and the electrical.
Did you get it done?
I did.
And I really, and it's something I've kind of seen on YouTube, and that is what people really enjoy and gravitate towards is when they know somebody's authentic, when they know somebody is real. And it isn't like those, I mean, you're not myself included, not here to be a star, but here to share information, to help people have an educated understanding of what the lake is like.
Right. You know, there are exceptions to every rule, and you're absolutely right about that. And I get those kind of comments that people like the fact that, I don't know how to express it, put on airs.
Yeah.
That's not to say that you can't be a 14-year-old girl and show what kind of lipstick you have every day and have 1 million subscribers.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
That is absolutely amazing, the stuff I've seen and the way I've seen YouTube channels grow, and the ones that are huge, the ones that are making millions of dollars even on a monthly basis, are not even the league that you and I are in. It's a whole different, a whole different market.
Well, I don't know about you, but we ain't doing this for the money.
That's right. That's right. And we need to make sure
I'm making about 15 cents an hour.
we need to make sure that people know that, because this is not a place to be able to get rich by any means doing what we're doing.
Right.
And what are the 3 favorite videos you would say that you enjoyed the most putting together?
You know, the easiest video, which to me, easy is enjoyable, the easiest is when I just sit down and talk to people.
Right.
You know, if you're going to do some research, and then you got to have notes to make sure you don't miss a point. And,
right.
And those kind of videos are much more labor intensive to create.
Right. Like work.
I also think that they're much more valuable to the viewer, because, like, if you do one about, you know, the comparison of Mexico and the United States for crime rates, for instance, you got to do some research.
Yeah.
And then when you present it, you have to be organized and, you know, point by point by point. And like I said, you make notes and not try to miss anything. And that's rewarding when you feel that you've done something valuable.
Right.
But the most enjoyable, which is your question, was when I just get to sit down and talk. Yeah.
Yeah, I see a lot of joy in doing that. And the videos to me that stand out the most are the ones that I get the most compliments of. The channels really help them. The channels help them make a decision of wanting to come to Lake Chapala, because I'm giving them the information that they're looking for, and it is information. So my first video, which I think is the video that absolutely sucked, is the one that's got the most views on it. Now, I don't have the number of subscribers you do. It's on a smaller scale, but we've got somewhere around, I think, 1,800 subscribers, somewhere in there. And our biggest video is 14,000 views. And that was put together as what to expect your first time to Lake Chapala.
Yeah, and it's a good, you know, I think the thumbnail and the title make a big difference. Right. And it's that first hour that the algorithm of YouTube says, does it have legs or not? Right. Yeah.
Right. And that's amazing how that happens. And then my second video was, okay, now you made a decision to move here. What do you need to do now? How do you prepare? Everything from, I mean, I did everything clear down to having a garage sale. Yeah. And the signs I made, and where to put the signs if you're going to get, because we sold everything in one weekend. So I saw value people being able to know how to deal with that, or how to contact somebody to do an estate sale, to just have them sell everything.
So you had the big garage sale in Albuquerque?
I did. Yeah.
Have a little story.
Okay.
So we're having that same big garage sale in Portland, Oregon, and I put a sign out in the middle of the street, a board like that.
Yeah, yeah.
It says, "I'm moving to Mexico, come buy this crap." and a guy walks in and he says, "Where are you moving to?" I said, "Ajijic." He said, "My mother lives there."
Wow. Wow.
She became a good friend, she and her husband, of Lynn and I. Lived here for many years. She doesn't live here anymore. They moved back. But I didn't meet her. He hooked us up email-wise. So we kind of had a friend here before we moved down. But I knew we were looking at houses to buy, and I said, this is her house. I recognized the furniture having been bought from City Liquidators in Portland, Oregon.
Wow. Wow, isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
That's amazing. I had a very close friend of mine that actually introduced us to Lake Chapala. But when he called me and we're on the phone, he says, you need to take a look at this place called Ajijic. I says, what? You know.
Ajijic?
Yeah, Ajijic. Yeah, Ajijic. And so that was an interesting experience. But the reason I put that second video out was because when somebody makes the decision to move here, there's a lot that has to be done. And I tried to put some simple steps together just so this is what you do, how to get a good mover, I mean, all these things. And then how to even drive down. If you're going to drive down, these are the things you want to make sure are taken care of on your car. You know, where to stay halfway down if you're coming off Laredo, those kind of things. So it was all based on how to make their life better, about when they're coming down, on how to do it and make it a lot easier and less stressful without as much anxiety, what a lot of people have that feel.
We kind of did that differently. We came and went in a motorhome for 3 years. And it was an old motorhome. After that first airplane trip down here as tourists, we went back, and just before we were going to come down for 3 months the next year, I found this old motorhome. And I paid $10,000 for it. It was a 1988 33-foot Southwind Class A.
Wow.
And I told Lynn, I said, I'm going to buy this motorhome. We'll drive it to Mexico. And she said, you're crazy. I said, well, it's not that much money. If it breaks down and we leave it in the ditch somewhere, it's not a financial disaster, number one. And it'll be fun. And after 2 weeks of me begging her to let me do this, she finally said, I think you're having a midlife crisis. If it doesn't have anything to do with a Corvette and a blonde, go get the damn thing.
That is good. That is good. That's one of those game changers, I guess you could say.
So after 3 years of coming and going like that, we would come down and put the motorhome in storage, La Floresta storage, and rent a house for 6 months. Then we did that for 2 more years after the first 3-month year. And we kept looking at houses to buy and houses to buy. And finally we bought in 2004.
Wow. Wow. And I know there's been a lot of changes that have taken place even where you bought and what happened with the property. And
I turned down a house in El Limon in 2002. It was 5 bedrooms, 6 baths, and we didn't buy it for $78,000 because the tennis court needed refinishing. Yeah, things have changed.
yeah, wow.
Prices in particular.
Did you have anyone who inspired you to do YouTube?
I did. His name is Eric Jacobs. He's a very successful YouTuber. His YouTube channel is Nomadic Fanatic. He's a RVer. And I started watching him years ago when he was still in college, living in his in the parking lot in his little tiny RV.
Wow.
And he is now a very successful YouTuber with over 200,000
Wow.
things. And he inspired me to say, oh yeah, what's that all about?
Yeah. Yeah. I'd have to say that my inspiration were viewers.
Well,
And the comments that they said, we really appreciate your information.
well, thank you for saying that. Yeah.
Nobody, you know, it's one of those kind of things where sometimes we don't always know what to expect and how somebody's going to see or perceive the video.
Right.
And when you put yourself out there and you're sharing, and then somebody says, wow, it was a great video, that really helped me. Or somebody says, you know what, I'm really fearful about moving over there because all I hear about is the cartel. And so some of our best videos were about the crime, comparing the crime here at Lake Chapala to the crime that happens in the States. And I've got folks that have said, you know what, I share those with my family. That way the family knows that, wait a minute, you're still in the States. Look what's going on here. So it brings awareness. And so it's something that people really appreciate to know that, okay, it's not like what everybody's telling me it is.
Right. And, you know, if you live down here and don't go to the States, you think it's horrible things going on in the States.
Yeah.
You live there, you think horrible things are going on here because it's the nature of news to be the exception to the rule.
Right.
News is news because it is not happening all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it takes, but people don't think that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Pretty media intensive in the States in regards to just watching the tube and getting all the information. There's so many other channels to watch on top of that when it comes to news, and you're inundated with all the negativity of what's going on in the States and the world.
Yep, for sure.
What 3 reasons would you say that is the why of somebody joining as a subscriber to your channel?
Oh, boy, that's a good question. Great question. It's something I should have thought about a long time ago and figured out, right? Let's see. 3 reasons why somebody should subscribe to my channel. I think that I'm an entertainment channel. You know, when you do your YouTube thing, you get to pick what category you're in. Well, I picked travel because the name of it's JC Travel Stories. I should have picked entertainment because I love entertaining people.
Right.
And so I think that's one thing, is that if you want, entertainment is getting away from your normal life.
Right.
Entertainment is getting away from the news that we were just talking about.
Right.
Well, you're not going to get a whole lot of that on my channel. Hopefully, in terms of entertainment, it'll be the thing that diverts you from all that other stuff that you don't want to think about right now.
Right.
I have a whole bunch of people who always comment about, hey, it's Sunday morning and we're watching you.
There you go. That's good.
Yeah, we're having coffee with Jerry. and I really enjoy those that participation that they express to me.
Just like the guy you had, honey.
So that's one reason, entertainment. Another one is that occasionally, I'm not making any promises, but occasionally I have some value in terms of, do you want to retire and move to Mexico? You know, when I first started my channel, I said, I'm never going to take you around town because there's a whole bunch of other channels that do that. But there's only one thing you can't get from the rest of them, and that's me talking about it. So that would be reason number 2.
Okay.
And reason number 3 is because I do have an ego and I want as many as I can get.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
So why do you think people should subscribe to JB's
Big Adventure.
Big Adventure. JB's Big Adventure.
3 reasons. One, I would say, is the fact that...
Oh, you have thought about this.
Well, I put all the questions together, and I realized if I'm going to ask you, I better know the answers myself, too. And I would say that one of the big ones is I'm authentic.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
I don't put an air out. It's I'm authentic. And also, when folks subscribe to the channel, they know that they're going to get the correct information. It isn't something I just, you know, like a lot of people do, just throw something together and put on YouTube. I study.
You're not selling real estate.
That's right. So if I'm sharing information that has to do with, you know, Lake Chapala, whether it's the lake or whether it's about the restaurants or it's about, you know what, I've heard that they feed the fish out of the lake at the restaurants. And, you know, folks know that when they come to our channel, they're getting truth. It isn't anything that has to be doctored up. It doesn't have to be, you know, blown up by any means, but they're going to get the truth. And the last one I think that actually that I get is not only am I authentic, but I genuinely care. I care about people that are looking to make the decision to come to Lake Chapala because it is a big decision. And there's a lot of things, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of stress, there's just a myriad of things that people have to go through when they're looking at coming here. And one of the things that they can expect is I care a lot.
Well, that comes through in the videos of yours I've watched. Yeah, it does.
And my wife, Barbara's actually said sometimes, I care too much.
You can get there. in all of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to make that decision about the balance between
Right.
doing good and for all of those out there and doing good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. What should the subscribers, what are 3 things that they should know about you?
What should they know about me? You know, I'm sure that there are already 300 things that they do know about me. So maybe your question should have been, what shouldn't they know about me?
He's a good carpenter.
I'm a good carpenter, yeah. What should they know about me? They should know anything they want to know about me. There are a few things that I never talk about on YouTube. I never talk about what I used to do. Anybody that asks me, I have a standard answer. I think you asked me and I gave it to you. Do you remember what it was? Rodeo clown? There's a story behind that, but you'll have to go to my channel, ask me in a comment, or I'm not telling the story. I don't know what people should know about me. They should know that you see what you get what you see. That's it.
I
Got no apologies and no presumptions.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And again, as I mentioned for myself, being authentic, and I see that in you too.
Yeah.
You're very, very common. You know, not anybody that's got a, you know, we're looking for, 10 million views or anything. It's a common person.
Yeah.
And obviously we're along on our years too, so there really isn't any reason to do that, but to be able to provide that value content. And when they watch it, they realize they're really getting something out of it. So I know that your videos are very entertaining, and you're always sharing because you're talking. You do a great job on the camera, and when they watch, you definitely have that entertainment value too, because they're able to watch what you're doing during your day.
You know, you just made me think when you said you were getting on in years, and we certainly are. I think I've gotten along in a few more than you have. But if I were doing this channel in my 40s, it would be a whole different person.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Not because I retired and relaxed, but because there are different motivations in life.
Right.
You know, I'd be doing it for the money.
Right.
Or else I wouldn't be doing it.
Right.
You know, all of those things that you had to do out of necessity when you were earning a living, those are, I hope they're gone for you. They're gone for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some of the things I would say is that you're very correct about that. And when I was in the workforce, most of the time I was self-employed. Mm-hmm. So anything and everything I did, whether it was being with Mercedes-Benz, whether it was being in the mortgage industry or having a sales and marketing company, mm-hmm. You're always on guard making the sale. You're just always, that's all that's on your mind is making the sale. We moved from the States so I could relax more and get away mm-hmm. from what I was feeling I had to do every day. And it's been nice to be able to wake up and smell the roses and be able to see the beauty that's here. That's been a big thing, What was your biggest challenge getting started, having your channel?
Well, once I decided that I wanted to make it something, other than just my 53 subscribers who were interested in what did my cat do that day. All of whom knew me personally for years. The biggest challenge was, building the subscribership. And a couple of things happened. I stalked, I think is the right word, some other YouTubers. Now this is in the RV life, not here in Mexico. I stalked some other RVers and hung around with them for a few weeks RVing in the desert and up around Quartzsite. Mm. And they had successful channels, well, successful by the comparison of my 53 at the time.
Right.
And in the course of a month or so, I went from 53 subscribers to, when I returned to Mexico then in end of February, Having found them around Christmas time, I had 900 subscribers.
Mm.
And then another thing happened. I was driving down the street in Ajijic, and I saw this couple walking down the street, and I recognized them, the Tangerinis. And I stopped and said, "Hey." And they had dinner at my house that night, and they gave me some tips on, doing this and doing that. And it started to grow a little bit. And then, you get a couple of successful channels, and the thing that really happens is that YouTube starts promoting you. Mm-hmm. I had one good video that went it's close to 1 million views.
Wow.
And that's what put me on that map.
Wow. Wow. I think that the biggest thing for me was, for one, realizing, and Barbara told me this several times, that it wasn't going to be perfect.
Oh, you got it. Yeah, forget perfect.
In
all of life, forget perfect.
I'm a perfectionist.
It'll drive you crazy.
Yes, yes. So I had this whole wide thing with all of my notes that I wanted to share on that video.
Yeah.
And I literally shot a video 85 times and couldn't get it right.
Been there.
And then she says, it's not going to be perfect. Just do it.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest things is just doing it. Just
Yeah.
get started, do your first video, then you go from there. One of the other biggest challenges for me, because I deal with severe depression and PTSD. And what happens is, it was finding the software for doing the editing that I could really get my arms around and understand and start doing. I've made so many mistakes. I've done complete videos and then accidentally hit the wrong button, and there it went. I deleted it.
Yeah.
And
been there.
So you did your blooper one.
Yeah, and I'll come out. I still today.
Wait a minute. You lost a blooper video with a blooper? Is that what I just heard you say?
I did the blooper video, then I accidentally erased all of it. Yeah, it's just one of those. And I can still. One of them that really sticks out to me was, I was sitting at a table on our backyard, and the video is of me reaching towards the camera and everything, trying to do something. And I said to Barbara, I says, "You know what, honey, I really screwed that one up." And I said something like, "Well, if success is all about making a bunch of mistakes, I guess I'll be successful."
Right.
So it's just getting started. It's getting started, and that was a challenge, but I did it, and I'm so glad that I did.
Well, stuff happens. Have you kicked your tripod leg yet and had the camera fall down and break? Huh?
I haven't done that one, no.
Oh, well, you will.
Or it falls over.
What's the most rewarding thing that you've had happen with your channel?
Oh, I think hands down, and it's the people that comment and compliment what you've done, and show that not only that they respect it, but that they've gotten value out of it. Mm. Yeah.
That is...
And the converse of that is all of the jerks who give you the other kind of comments. That's the hardest thing to get past.
Right.
I'm way past it. It bothers me not in the least anymore.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, and for a long time, boy, that'll really get to your soul.
Yeah.
You have to realize that none of that has anything to do with you.
Right. And I would say that ditto, I agree that it's about the people.
No, it's got to be.
Yeah.
We're nothing without them.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I think that the biggest compliments that it sounds like that you and I both receive are, "Wow, you made a difference for me. That was really valuable information." Yeah. It's taken away some fears that I had, or whatever it may be that they were challenged with. It's been able to help them, and we're connected with that. I get that, and that's to me, that's my heart.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not like, well, this is how you do this.
Right.
It's this is how you forget that.
Right.
and just enjoy 10 minutes watching a video. Yeah.
Yeah. What are 2 to 3 things that you would recommend for someone who's looking to come to Lake Chapala? whether to visit or whether to actually move here?
Well, the first thing I'd recommend is that you come and try it out. That you come down for a week or 2 weeks or a month, whatever you can afford to do in terms of your ability to do research, and see if you like it.
Right.
I mean, it's definitely not for everybody.
Right, right.
And there are things that are culturally different. It's difficult before you have some facility with the Spanish language, although in Ajijic you can get away with it for years. I know, because I have. But once you learn to get through the hardware store and the restaurant and the gas station without having to think about it, then things get a lot easier.
It's all about enjoying the journey, enjoying what it brings.
Pleasure.
Okay. So in bringing this video to a close, because obviously we could have a 4-hour conversation and nobody wants to necessarily live the 4 hours.
Well, can we shut the cameras off and just keep going?
I just want to say that I really appreciate the fact that you've taken your time to get together and do this. I know that there are probably folks that are on YouTube that think that, well, you guys are down in Lake Chapala, Mexico, and you're competitors. Mm-hmm. And I just don't see it that way. I see that we all bring value to the table.
I don't see it that way either. And, you know, I'm happy to sit and talk with you, whatever value that may have for your channel. Because other people did that for me, and I was told to pay it forward.
There you go.
You're just helping me pay. And
well,
I don't think of Jerry Brown or you or any of the rest of them, and I check all of them to see what the competition is doing, but it's not competition.
Right.
in my feelings about it.
Right.
It's just, well, if they had a good idea, maybe I'll copy it.
Yeah.
But it's not competition.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Perspective, that's it.
Right. So, as I mentioned, I appreciate you taking the time, and I also appreciate the fact that willing to share and sharing from your heart, because I felt that.
Yeah.
And is there anything that you'd like to say or anything to end the movie, end this video? Video.
Yeah. I think I can just sum up my feelings today by saying that, number one, I'm happy to talk to people, and whether that's you and I doing a YouTube video together, or whether it's the guy that chased me down in the street and says, "Hey, I watch your videos," I really do enjoy meeting and talking with people.
Right.
And yeah, so if there's any of you out there who want to chase me down at Walmart, feel free to do so, please.
That's right. Well, and that goes for us also. I really appreciate those that we do run into. That says, I'm a subscriber of yours. I follow your channel and all those kind of things. I think those of us that are authentic and real, we appreciate that. We enjoy it.
Yeah, and the day will come for you too, Jim and Barbara, that you can't go to Walmart without it happening.
Right.
Yeah, because I rarely go out of my house that somebody doesn't go, "Hey, Jim."
We have it happen often, and I don't care if we're in the middle of a meal, whatever it may be. I always pull a chair out and let them sit and we'll talk. I mean, there's just something about, again, being authentic, but it's all about enjoying the journey, enjoying what it brings.
Pleasure.
Okay. If you haven't yet,
No.
I'd like to encourage you to subscribe to both channels, because this will obviously be on 2 different channels. And so thanks again for being a part of this video in the community. We really appreciate you. Have an awesome day. We'll see you
Igualmente.
on the next video.
Thanks for watching.